hope to God we don't end up in a situation where after an investigation ensues that they find out that his black friends he was with had something to do with this and that he was trying to hang out with a white girl, the reason why he stayed on the island.
This young woman, Katie, who's been cited in these various recollections of what happened that day, do you know if she's been identified? Has anyone spoken to her?
So yeah, but we don't know. We've never met Katie. I've never seen her in my life. She did reach out to me initially, just saying basically like it was a hey and bye type situation.
We have images proving that they all left the island together to go to a pool party on the mainland. We also know there was another dispute at this pool party where Nolan was possibly yelling at somebody to give him back his phone. See, that phone keeps coming back around.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to first of all say thank you to all the members. Thank you guys for being part of the Tatum membership program. Shout out to the rookies, officers, SWAT team, and also the deputy chiefs. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Big shout out to the deputy chiefs. Here's a list of all my number one deputy chiefs. So I appreciate you guys. Thank y'all for the support. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Those of you who have seen me in public, you see me out with my family, whatever case it be, and have come up and said hi, just know I love you and I appreciate it. And I'm humble enough to understand that I would not be here if it had not been for the people that support me. So I love you guys. I appreciate all of you. Also, if you want to get this hat, all you got to do is go to tatumstore.com, tatumstore.com. I will say this again and again, just in case it's your first time hearing me talk about this. I think it's a tragedy. It's very sad. This young man lost his life. He's really gone. This is not subject for fodder. This is not just for us to continue to talk about to get views and clicks. I mean, somebody's life is gone. And that kid was 18 years old. And I couldn't imagine losing my child at that age in some mysterious situation that happened where he goes on a trip, then they find him in the water somewhere. It's sad. I want to get that out of the way. But I do not believe that the family is making it any better by leveraging people like Benjamin Crump to be publicly saying things that may not be true and in other cases have been proven to not be true. Let me warn everybody real quick. I hope to God we don't end up in a situation where after an investigation ensues that they find out that his black friends he was with had something to do with this and that he was trying to hang out with a white girl, the reason why he stayed on the island. I hope to God we don't get to that conclusion. But the way it's going, it's looking very interesting that the parents are not talking about these black friends that he was there with. Why are they not subject of investigation? Why are they not concerned that they had something to do with it? It's interesting. They're only talking about the white kids. All right, let's get to Benjamin Crump getting on TV on the, Grio? Platform called The Grio. And Grant told me they blocked me. I can't. I must have said something that hurt their feelings or something. I must have said something true on their channel. They don't want Brandon Tatum to engage. And I ain't even on X like that. You know they trash. All right, let's play this clip.
You know, it's amazing the times we live in, Natasha, because 20 years ago, black people would have no chance at justice. The local authorities would not charge anybody. Nothing would happen. And nobody got to bring civil actions for black life in America. And
Time out.
It was this
time out. He said 20 years ago. That was in 2006. You telling me, Benjamin Milk Dud Head Crump, that they didn't have justice back in 20 years ago. In 2006, cops wouldn't even investigate crimes against black people. They just be on here making up stuff. Roll the clip.
phenomenon that we have kind of created. I call it the legacy of Trayvon Martin, where we started talking about the value of black life, where we started talking about the lived experiences of black mothers and black fathers when their children are taken from them in just unbelievable ways. And so our role is to come in first as a civil rights, civil trial lawyer. The Constitution says that under the Seventh Amendment, if you feel that you have been wronged, if you have been grieved, then you have a right to not try to go fight the battles out in the streets, but to come in the court of law and say, based on the Seventh Amendment, I have a right to civil justice. What is civil justice? It's any kind of justice that will not go up to the point where you can imprison somebody, arrest somebody, take their liberty.
Time
Only the
out.
government.
Time out. Time out. So what are you doing here? Explain this to me, somebody. Lord, help me. Explain to me how before you ever get evidence, the boy barely got an autopsy done, and y'all need civil rights attorneys to protect you. There is no violation of your civil rights. There is no inclination that there should be violation of your civil rights. The death is being investigated, but they preemptively interjected this foolery into a situation when they could be honoring Nolan and honoring his life and letting the investigation do its thing. Instead, they're leveraging his death to disparage people with no evidence. Why? I would never do this with my kids. If I thought and I was suspicious of something happening, brother, I'm not finna get out to the public. I'm gonna try to deal with it first. Because I don't want to be looking stupid when it was the black kids that was the last ones that seen him. And then it all comes unraveling, and now your son's death is like a minstrel show. We don't want that. You should not want that. Let him finish. He had to tell the world that he grifted. You have a right to civil. That means you won't get an arrest out of this or nothing. It's just civil. He can't help them with justice criminally. He can't help them arrest anybody that killed their son. What is he here for? Civil justice. Next clip. Lord help us. Roll it.
Have you heard anything new? What is the latest with the local investigation that is happening alongside of independent investigation?
So I'm going to be honest, we have not heard from our local authorities since last Tuesday. And that was because I sent a text. I was like, hey, this is Christine, Nolan's mom. Just wanted to get an update. We received a phone call, basically really no updates. And that was it. We've heard from no one else.
Time out.
Wow.
Let me explain this real quick. There's two things. You can look at it and be shocked and say, oh my God, this is an injustice. Or you can look at it more reasonably and rationally, is that if they don't have anything new to tell you, they're not going to call you every day and tell you, hey, there's nothing there, there's nothing there, there's nothing there. They got the boy, they did an autopsy. You guys are doing your own independent autopsy, but the autopsy so far has revealed a drowning and that there's no signs of foul play. Now, they have to go through and interview people. They have to go and find evidence. And while they're doing that process, they're not going to update mama and daddy every time they interview somebody unless there's a break in the case. And so when you don't hear back from them, that don't mean necessarily it's impropriety. Roll it.
Mr. Crump, what's your reaction to that? Is there anything that indicates, is that abnormal for you as someone who's worked on many cases?
It certainly is, if you put it in context. I know I had the opportunity to talk with Byron Allen, and Byron and I really had a deep exchange because we talked about if the roles were reversed, this investigation would be handled totally different. I mean, you would have had those young men being interrogated. They would have been separated. It would have been like first 48. If you had 3 young black men with one young white man, and that young white man ended up dead. And so what Elmore and Christine and all of us have been saying, we want a zealous investigation for our son too. We want you to do for our son what you would do for anybody's son and get to the bottom of this because it's not adding up. And the fact that it seems like it's such a laissez-faire investigation. We take whatever they say as the gospel. We don't, press them on anything. We don't cross-examine them on anything. They say, Nolan said, I volunteer that I'm just going to stay behind. And I'm not even going to ask for my cell phone. They just take that as a grain of salt. And
all right, pause. I bet you if I talk to them cops, ain't nobody taking it as a grain of salt. Could it be possible that they're taking it as a grain of salt? But it's not likely. police officers are human beings. Everybody has children. I mean, most cops, especially when you go up in the command staff, at some point you can find police officers at some level of investigation that have their own kids. You guys act like white people are monsters, they're Neanderthals. They can't functionally consider a black person being a normal human being. Like, I don't understand what the projection is all about. It's not fair. It's not reasonable. It doesn't make sense. What makes you believe that the people that found his body is not willing or prepared to do a fair investigation, as if they have a motive? They don't even know who did it. He had black friends there with him too. So when y'all's mind of racism, they'll really want to get to the bottom of it, wouldn't it? Because they can arrest another black person, right? No, it don't fit in your narrative. So you preemptively say, that if it was a white kid, they'd be doing way more stuff. How do you know that? Give me an example of another situation happen like this where you have them do more for a white kid than a black kid. Tell me what your response is, my brother. Y'all act like black people don't live in Mississippi. Y'all act like black people ain't police officers. You know, that's the thing that bothers me about this whole thing. Let's get to some more clips. We got a few more. Let's go to the friend thing, because the mama addressed the issue with the friend that came on TV that they said didn't want to talk on camera, but somehow they put his face and his name out there to the public. So anyway, mama's going to address him, and then we're going to have a clip where she addressed that girl that allegedly said she saw Nolan, like she was the last one to see Nolan. That's what All right, roll the clip.
But Trayston Shepard described himself as Nolan's best friend. He gave an interview saying that he was the one who was yelling in one of the viral videos that people had been questioning, and said that it wasn't Nolan in the video, that it was him, and that Nolan met a girl that day that he really liked, even though he'd never, interacted with this girl before. Her name was Katie. Have you spoken to Trayston since Nolan's passing, and how are you responding to his account of what happened?
So first of all, we don't know Tristan. We've never met him. So to say, best friend, childhood friend, that's a bit of a stretch. We've never met him. He's never been to our home. Now, if you were to say that about Jalen or Javon, I would say absolutely.
Time out.
You
Jalen and Javon. This is what struck me. Ain't that what she said? Jalen and Javon. That sound like black names. At least Javon. I will shut the front door if these are two white boys named Jalen and Javon, right? And they're that close to the family and all this stuff. So Jalen and Javon sound like two black kids. Now she's putting out Jalen and Javon, meaning that if Jalen and Javon went on the news and gave a statement about this stuff, that she would be more willing to believe them because she know them better. So what does that tell me? That tells me that these black kids was there too. So what information, and I haven't heard anybody say anything about this, what information does the black kids have as it relates to him going missing? And are they telling the family that the white kids did something to him? None of these things are being explained, but all of a sudden black kids are getting introduced. But there's nobody worried about what the black kids could have done with Nolan. Those things are problematic to me. Let them finish.
You could say that those are childhood friends, those are best friends, because they've been to our home. We know their family. We're close to, their mother. But this young man, I maybe high school, they started hanging out or, kind of been around each other. But again, we don't know him. And not to discount anything he has said, which of course, still trying to rule those things out. But I mean, he has communicated. He did offer his condolences, which we appreciate. And he did let me know about that tidbit, which of course, like I've been telling everyone, if you have any information, forward that over to the local authorities. Make sure also forward that over to our legal team as well, just to make sure that we're looking at everything.
Let me say this to the young man. Not only does his parents, but some of his friends, they reject this notion about, he said, oh, he would just volunteer to stay. They're saying Nolan would never do that. So his friends are saying he doesn't really know Nolan if he's saying that Nolan volunteered to stay there. And we've had so many people now calling our call center saying where there was this argument and then 10 minutes later there was another argument. But those people of call said, no, Nolan was in an argument. And so now we have to continue to investigate to try to figure out everything that happened.
All
But
right,
we
enough of that. I feel like I can see money coming out of his ears. You know, how the little cloud when they talking, I can see money, dollar signs in this thing. That's what I see from a man like that who has got no justice legally for anybody. It's all payouts and stuff because they accuse police officers of doing the wrong thing. I think it's funny, man. Like he's saying, people are now calling and saying that he was in an argument. Okay, we get that. I mean, maybe that's good information, but like nobody has witnessed anything that happened to him. Let's go to the young lady's statement because I think this young lady was the last one to see him, according to what people have said. Roll the clip.
This young woman, Katie, who's been cited in these various recollections of what happened that day, do you know if she's been identified? Has anyone spoken to her?
She has been identified. I do not know if anyone has spoken to her. Again, we just have not heard much, right? From our local authorities, which kind of we're glad that we have kind of taken this course, however it may end. We're glad we did because just because of this right now, not being able to have that communication. I just would think with situations like this, you know, they would be more forthcoming, like, hey, let us keep you up to date. We understand the seriousness of the situation and, what you guys are going through. So yeah, but we don't know. We've never met Katie. I've never seen her in my life. She did reach out to me initially, just saying basically like it was a hey and bye type situation. And I was like, that's not what I'm getting from other people. So like I said, before, a lot of inconsistencies, and we just want transparency and a very thorough investigation, just like they would do for anyone else.
I just, to this day, I don't understand why they thought that they weren't get a fair investigation. I don't understand that. I get that you want to make sure your kid get justice. Like I would. I want this kid to get justice. If somehow there's an impropriety, by all means, I would be the first one to yell it out, and I want people to go to prison if they don't do the right thing. But to jump on that before anything is happening is crazy.